Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to be discussing a strategy that I used in my classroom that actually helped a lot of my readers become better readers. This was a strategy I started implementing because I had so many students who came in below grade level and they were really struggling to just remember those basic high frequency and grade level vocabulary words that they needed to be good readers. So I tried to come up with something that I felt like would give them that repetition that they needed to get those words embedded into their little brains. And I called myself researching and looking this up, but I didn't really have much luck finding anything. So I just kind of put something together myself, and this idea it worked really well in my classroom. So I'm going to go over it with you today, and I hope if you decide to implement it in your own classroom for reading, that it is as helpful to you as it was for me and my students. So the objective is to gain an understanding of how step reading can help improve the abilities of students in your classroom. Because if you're a teacher, ultimately that is all of our goals, to make sure our students leave our classroom with more knowledge than they came in with more skills and abilities than they came up with. And sometimes, given the situations, it's kind of hard to do. So what is step reading? In step reading, students practice reading a sentence in increments. Students start with a word, then another word is added, and another word is added. And this process continues until you form a complete sentence. Each time a word is added, the student starts that sentence over from the beginning so that they are reading every word more than once at the end. So ultimately, the only word they won't say more than once is the last word in the sentence that completes that sentence. Now, if you try to implement this strategy, it's very important that you remember that you need to keep the sentences very short, not necessarily simple, but they do need to be short. You don't want really long sentences, and you'll pretty much understand why you want to keep the sentences short after we look at the example on the next slide. So here's the first example. Can. Can we? Can we go? Can we go by? Can we go by the? Can we go by the store? Can we go by the store? Can we go by the store and get? Our focus word is by for this particular step read activity, and I made sure that I highlighted or colored that word so that it stood out from the rest of the words in the sentence to let my students know, hey, this is the word that we're really focusing on for this sentence. Even though they're trying to learn all of the words, by is the word that they're focusing on. Can we go by the store and get candy? Okay, and this is a good point to reinforce those sentence building or sentence structure concepts. Do we start our sentence with an uppercase letter? Do we have spacing between each word? Okay, do we have punctuation at the end of our sentence? Okay, so based on what this sentence says, what does the word buy mean? Does it mean we're going in the store to get something? They're going to tell you no. Does it mean you're waving goodbye to someone? They're going to tell you no. And they're probably going to start screaming out. It means you're standing next to someone or you're beside, however they say it, they're going to pick up the meaning of the word from the context of the sentence. So where do I get my words from? So whatever unit you are on for that particular week, those are the words you are going to use for your step read. This is another way to enforce the vocabulary or high frequency or even the spelling words for that week. So I just create a PowerPoint, and all of this was actually my PowerPoint that I used in class with my students. And I would have the students read each word to me: by, done, every, soon, work. Okay. And at this point, I would go ahead and I would maybe pick a couple of students to use a few of the words in a sentence of their own, or I would pick one word if it was my lower group and have them try to write a simple sentence using that one word. If it was my middle or higher group, I would ask them to go ahead and use 2 to 3 of those words to produce a sentence, making sure that they use proper sentence structure when composing those sentences. Another example: she, she is, she is, she is done with, she is done with she is done with the story, she is done with the story about, she is done with the story about she is done with the story about the mouse. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see my actual cursor once I post the video. In my first attempt in posting this video, it didn't show my cursor. So I'll just say here, if you decide to use this method, make sure either you or get a student to maybe point to each word as the students read the word. This helps to make sure all students are on the same word at the same time. Okay? You will have students who are very good readers in your class who decide, hey, I'm a fast reader, so I'm going to go ahead and read. She is done with the story about the mouse. You don't want that, because you have some students in your class who don't know the word she, or who won't know how that the TH makes the sound to make this word with. So we need everyone saying the same word at the same time, so that those students who do not know the words can hear those words said correctly. And when they get to the next line, more than likely they're going to be able to say that word. And guess what? They have at least 2 to 3 to 4 more opportunities to practice reading that word in context. Again, now we see how this helps our struggling readers, that repetition is what they need. And of course, our focus word is done, and we could see that from the highlighted word in the sentence. This is the last example that I'm giving you guys. Every day, every day we go. Every day we go by. Okay, now say you have a student mispronounce a word, because again, we're reading together. Okay, the teacher's not reading. Only the students are reading. So say you have a student mispronounce a word. Okay. Every day we go by that. Okay, class, what is this last word here? And most of the class is going to tell you the. Okay, so I heard a few students say that. Class, what is this word? And at this point, everyone is going to say the. What is this word again? The. Okay, let's start over and try this portion of the sentence again. And you start that part over. Every day we go by the. Okay, you want to get them in the habit of starting a sentence over if they struggle on the word, because when students stop to struggle and try to decode word, it breaks that pattern of comprehension. And pretty much everything before that, they kind of forget. So I always teach my students that if you mess up on a word, it's okay. We're going to correct it, but we're also going to start this sentence over to make sure we build that full comprehension of what this sentence is telling us. Every day we go by the school. Every day we go by the school too. Okay. And even though this particular lesson was toward the end of the year, school and to were words that we discussed and learned about at the beginning of the year. So again, you're reinforcing words that they should already know as well. Every day we go by the school to. Now, what are the benefits of doing step reading? One, it can be used for all levels of students. So if you're a school that has your classrooms, your classroom sections divided by ability level, you can differentiate this particular activity so that for students who are in a higher level, maybe you push them to those next level high frequency words or next level vocabulary words. Okay, for your students who are in the middle, you can give them their regular vocabulary words in a simple to complex sentence. For your students who are lower, you give them those unit high frequency and vocabulary words, but you create more simple sentences for them to be able to decode. You want the productive struggle. You don't want struggle. You want productive struggle. Another benefit is that this activity helps reinforce both high frequency and vocabulary words through repetition and using words in context. If you are a teacher of literature, reading, whatever you want to call it, you will find that, or you know, that you can't build reading fluency if the students don't understand the words that are in the sentence. Fluency is a combination of both knowing the word, what the word says, but also knowing what the words mean to be able to come up with a meaning for this. So the students can read the bird sat in the nest all day, but if the students can't figure out what a bird is or they don't know what a nest is, that's going to stop their fluency, block their fluency and comprehension. Okay, so this activity helps build that because they're using those context clues to help figure out words that they may not understand the meaning of. This activity allows students of all learning levels to engage and participate in the reading, and this activity can be used in one-on-one, small group, or in a whole group session. Now, I personally only used it in a whole group setting because my classroom was kind of mixed ability. So I had high, medium, and low students in the same class. So this activity worked very well with them because even when my low students didn't know words, my high students did. So they were able to go ahead and read those words. But of course, I'm listening and I'm monitoring. So I hear those students who are struggling readers not say the words or mispronounce the words. So again, that's the point where I jump in and say, okay, I noticed some students had a little trouble with this word, and I point to their word and I focus on their word for just a few seconds. Have the class tell me what the word is, have them repeat it. Sometimes I say it 3 times. They'll say it real fast. The. Okay, now let's try to reread this sentence with this word again. And we start over. Okay. Now I can tell you, starting off, students really liked doing this because they thought it was just funny that they were reading the same thing over and over and over again. Okay. But after about 2 weeks of doing this every single day, yeah, they kind of started to get a little bored with it because it was building on stamina that they didn't really have for reading. And this was more with my struggling readers. They really started to get kind of frustrated with it because they didn't have that stamina. So this was more work for them. But in the end, after practicing this at least 2 to 3 times a week, those struggling students were able to read a small book before they left my class. And keep in mind, I started using this strategy, I want to say maybe around February of this past school year. And by May, before they took their final exam, those first graders who could not read were able to read. So that I was very proud of. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I do hope that this is a strategy that you can and do choose to use in your classroom, because as I stated, it really does work. The repetition really helps embed those concepts and those words in the students' minds, especially those words with letter combinations that don't make the normal sounds that the alphabet letters are supposed to make, like your TH, your PH, your SH, your SCH, your PHR, your double letters. Like most if they're beginning readers, they'll want to say and just instead of just saying one sound. So again, I hope you use it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will be back with another video for you soon. Have an awesome day.